You could have made nice with me. But you
Longlegs emerged as one of the most talked-about horror thrillers in recent years, capturing attention not through loud spectacle but through an atmosphere of quiet dread and unsettling mystery. From the moment early details about the film began circulating among film fans, it became clear that this project was aiming for something more psychologically disturbing than conventional horror. Instead of relying on predictable scares, the film built its identity around a slow, creeping sense of danger, the kind that lingers in the mind long after the screen fades to black. This approach immediately set it apart from many mainstream releases and sparked intense curiosity among viewers who were hungry for something darker, stranger, and more cerebral. The story unfolds in a world that feels grounded and realistic, yet constantly threatened by something unseen and incomprehensible. The narrative follows a young investigator drawn into a chilling case that stretches far beyond ordinary criminal activity. What begins as a routine investigation gradually evolves into a labyrinth of cryptic clues, disturbing patterns, and psychological tension. The deeper the protagonist digs, the more the case begins to feel personal, as if the mystery itself is watching and waiting. This sense of being pulled into something larger and more sinister is one of the film's strongest hooks, giving the audience a reason to stay invested not only in the outcome, but in the mental and emotional journey of the central character. One of the defining features of Longlegs is its ability to blend crime thriller elements with pure horror. The film carefully balances investigative procedures with moments of genuine terror, creating a narrative that feels both methodical and unpredictable. Scenes of quiet detective work are suddenly interrupted by flashes of disturbing imagery or cryptic messages that suggest the presence of a mind, operating far outside the boundaries of normal human behavior. This combination keeps the tension high because viewers never feel fully secure in understanding the rules of the story. Just when the plot seems to be settling into a familiar rhythm, something unsettling shifts the tone and reminds the audience that danger is never far away. The antagonist at the center of the story is portrayed as an elusive and almost mythical figure, someone whose actions leave behind more questions than answers. Instead of being presented as a straightforward villain, this character is surrounded by layers of ambiguity and symbolism, which makes every appearance more chilling. The film does not rush to explain the motivations behind the crimes, allowing the mystery to grow and intensify. This choice creates a sense of dread that builds gradually, as viewers are forced to confront the possibility that some evils cannot be neatly explained or understood. The character's presence is felt even in scenes where they are not physically visible, making them one of the most haunting figures in recent thriller cinema. Visually, Longlegs embraces a muted and shadowy aesthetic that reflects its dark themes. The cinematography favors dim lighting, long static shots, and carefully composed frames that draw attention to negative space. Empty hallways, quiet suburban streets, and cluttered interiors all become sources of unease because the camera lingers just long enough to make viewers expect something to appear in the background. This deliberate pacing allows tension to build naturally without the need for constant action. The film's visual language communicates fear through stillness and silence, reinforcing the idea that the true horror lies in what cannot be seen or fully understood. The sound design plays an equally important role in shaping the film's atmosphere. Instead of relying on loud musical stings to signal danger, the audio landscape is filled with subtle ambient noises, distant echoes, and moments of near silence. These elements create a sense of isolation around the characters, as though they are trapped in a world that has grown eerily empty. When music does appear, it is often minimal and haunting, using repetitive motifs that feel almost hypnotic. This careful use of sound ensures that every whisper, footstep, or creaking door carries weight, turning even mundane moments into sources of tension. At the heart of Longlegs is a strong focus on character psychology. The protagonist is not portrayed as an invincible hero, but as a deeply human figure struggling with fear, doubt, and the pressure of confronting something beyond rational explanation. As the investigation progresses, the emotional toll becomes increasingly visible. Sleep deprivation, paranoia, and flashes of past trauma begin to blur the line between reality and imagination. This psychological deterioration adds another layer of horror, as the audience is forced to question whether the threat is purely external or whether the mind itself is becoming a battleground. The film also explores themes of obsession and the human desire to impose order on chaos. The investigator's determination to solve the case becomes almost self-destructive, highlighting the danger of pursuing truth at any cost. Each new clue seems to pull the character deeper into a web of darkness, making it clear that some mysteries are not meant to be uncovered. This theme resonates strongly because it reflects a universal fear, the idea that knowledge can sometimes be more terrifying than ignorance. By portraying the search for answers as both noble and dangerous, Longlegs gives its narrative emotional complexity and philosophical weight. Another aspect that contributes to the film's impact is its refusal to provide easy resolutions. Rather than wrapping up every plot thread in a neat and comforting conclusion, the story leaves certain questions open to interpretation. This ambiguity has sparked extensive discussion among viewers, with many debating the true meaning behind specific scenes and symbols. The film encourages audiences to piece together clues and form their own theories, turning the viewing experience into something more interactive and thought-provoking. This approach ensures that Longlegs remains memorable because it invites continued reflection long after the credits roll. The performances in the film are central to its effectiveness, particularly in how they convey fear and vulnerability without resorting to exaggerated reactions. Subtle facial expressions, hesitant body language, and quiet moments of realization all contribute to a sense of authenticity. The actors portray their characters as real people caught in extraordinary circumstances, which makes the horror feel more immediate and personal. Instead of delivering dramatic speeches, much of the emotional weight is carried through silence and small gestures, reinforcing the film's understated tone. Longlegs also stands out for its use of symbolism and recurring visual motifs. Certain images appear repeatedly throughout the story, gradually revealing deeper meanings as the plot progresses. These symbols are never fully explained within the narrative, allowing them to function as unsettling reminders of the antagonist's presence and influence. The use of such imagery creates a dreamlike quality, as though the characters are moving through a world governed by hidden rules and patterns. This stylistic choice adds to the film's haunting atmosphere and encourages viewers to pay close attention to details that might otherwise go unnoticed. The pacing of the film is deliberately measured, avoiding the fast-cut editing and constant action that dominate many contemporary thrillers. This slower rhythm allows tension to build organically and gives the audience time to absorb the psychological weight of each scene. Some viewers may find this approach challenging because it demands patience and focus, but for those willing to engage with it, the payoff is a far more immersive and unsettling experience. The gradual escalation of danger feels more realistic and emotionally impactful because it mirrors how fear often develops in real life quietly at first, then all at once. As the narrative reaches its climax, Longlegs shifts from a procedural investigation into something far more surreal and nightmarish. The boundaries between the physical world and the psychological realm begin to blur, creating sequences that feel disorienting and unpredictable. This transition reflects the protagonist's mental state, as the strain of the investigation begins to erode their grip on reality. The final act does not rely on explosive action or traditional confrontation, but instead focuses on psychological revelation and emotional confrontation, making it both unsettling and deeply thought-provoking. The film's exploration of evil is another element that sets it apart. Rather than depicting evil as a simple force that can be defeated through bravery or intelligence, Longlegs presents it as something ancient, pervasive, and difficult to fully comprehend. This portrayal challenges the comforting notion that there is always a logical explanation or a clear path to victory. By suggesting that some darkness exists beyond human understanding, the film taps into a primal fear that resonates on a deeply instinctive level. Longlegs has also generated significant discussion because of its distinctive tone, which blends elements of classic crime dramas with the unsettling atmosphere of psychological horror. This hybrid style appeals to a wide range of viewers, from those who enjoy intricate mysteries to those who seek intense emotional and sensory experiences. The film demonstrates that horror does not need to rely solely on supernatural elements to be effective. The human mind, with its capacity for cruelty and obsession, can be just as terrifying. The impact of Longlegs extends beyond its immediate viewing experience. It has contributed to a broader conversation about the direction O